Hi, I'm Congressman Mike Quigley. We're joined today with Phil Warren, who lives in Chicago at Friedman Place. For the last 10 years, Phil has been blind due to glaucoma. Phil joins us today to talk a little bit about the future of ACA and the attempts to repeal it, and what the legislation has meant for you, Phil. So let me just ask you that. First, let me ask you, tell me what your life is like having glaucoma and being blind for the last 10 years.
Well, I also have a detached retina on top of that,
Okay.
and nystagmus. And as a result, I see multiple colors in my blindness all day long.
Okay.
I tell people jokingly I have the psychedelic glaucoma. And it's, right now there's 9 colors with a green background, and there's like worms, there's imagery. The optic nerve is still alive.
Okay.
And
what kind of, well, let me just ask, the life you have right now, what kind of medical needs do you have?
I take 3 drops a day. I also take an Abilify for concentrative purposes. And I do get bouts of depression, and I have an equilibrium problem as well. That comes also from, well, I was born with glaucoma, congenital glaucoma, and it worsened after a big fire downtown.
Oh.
And I was put out of my apartment for 7 months, and I lost it, and caught an infection and a flu combined. And I learned that you can't drink too much water with glaucoma. It raises the interocular pressure.
Oh.
And just as well,
Well, let me ask you another question.
I got distracted.
Before the healthcare law was put into place, how were things for you in terms of benefits and health insurance and the coverage you got or were able to get?
I had some Medicaid, but I still had to scrounge for one of my medicines.
Mm-hmm.
I was a door-to-door promoter under the table, and I did odd jobs in between my illnesses. And
Were you in a position where you had to put off getting medicine because you couldn't afford it, or medical care because you couldn't afford it?
one time I had that problem. One time I had that problem a few years back, and then there was another time where the insurance company wouldn't cover the medicine at all.
And that's because it was what, a pre-existing condition or too expensive?
Too expensive.
I see. And when the healthcare law was passed and put into place, how did that improve your life?
I live in a supportive living facility that helps out, and it's hard for me to navigate due to equilibrium problems, and so they help. I get help getting my medicine, and they check on me to make sure my head's clear, and I'm upbeat as can be. I get down on the world a lot.
Was the healthcare law able to help you pay for your care and where you
Oh
live?
yeah, I'm very lucky to have the healthcare law.
Yeah.
And
How does it make you feel?
I used to go.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I used to go to the hospital when this first happened. I had to go to the hospital every other day at Northwestern Memorial, and they had to monitor. We didn't know if my eye was going to burst or what was going to happen. There's one surgery that's available for my detached retina, but it's too dangerous to do. I got a hole in my eye, in fact, and I wear the glasses even though I'm 97% blind. I wear the glasses because the air hurts.
Oh.
And I got to stay out of the wind, and I'm temperature effective.
How does it make you feel when you know that the president and our Republican colleagues are trying to repeal the healthcare law and put you back where you were before?
Kind of unwanted, kind of like gives you a worthless feeling. And it doesn't help out when you don't, you're trying to maintain your health and what's left of your light vision, and you're struggling to survive and you don't know how to make your next move. You don't know what move to make.
If you were sitting next to the president or some of the Republican leaders who are attempting to repeal the law, from your own heart, your own personal point of view, what would you say to them?
I tell them they need an equal balance in this healthcare situation and the healthcare law, and it's a tough tangle because I know people that are paying for the healthcare. It's expensive for them, and I don't. There's people with cognitive dysfunctions and mobile dysfunctions. And they can't hold a regular job and have trouble concentrating. Some days I'm pushing air, and to tell them, they need to back off on repealing Medicaid.
What would you tell them your worst fear is if this gets repealed?
The worst fear is that nobody would be covered and people would get sicker and worse. People would lose. It would affect the morale, the attitude of the people, and crime and stuff. People would get desperate, and it would increase, a lot of havoc. And I think it would create a negative impact on a lot of people with negative health issues that are struggling to survive.
All right, well, Phil, we're going to do our best I can to keep you covered and take care of you. We want to thank you so much for coming by today and sharing your story.
Having us.
All righty, thank you so much. God bless.